On this episode of the Bronze Medalist podcast, we talk about Ride the Lightning by Metallica. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And today, finally, for the first time ever on this podcast, we're going to be talking about a Metallica album. We're going to be talking about 1984's Ride the Lightning.
Their sophomore album.
Metallica's second studio album. And we'll talk about that in a while. I mean, it's an extremely important album.
It is.
That I had never listened to before.
That's kind of why I brought it.
Yeah. And I mean, the story with me and Metallica is not really like, I don't like Metallica. And it's like
a lukewarm thing.
It's like, Metallica has never bothered me. There's nothing, to me, there's nothing like, it's just that I've never really felt a need to really listen to Metallica and get into their music.
Yeah,
I have not felt a compulsion to do so.
I'm just imagining that at some point you're making cookies and they were cooling and there's a knock on your door and it's Kirk Hammett. It's like, well, I guess you're not bothering me. You can come in.
Yeah, come in. Sit down. I'm about to take these out of the oven. Sure. If you want a couple.
They're still hot.
If you bring,
bother.
Bring them to James or something.
Sure.
It's all good. It's all good. You're not bothering me. Now if Lars had knocked on
that might have bothered you.
That might have bothered me. It's just like, get out of here. But why don't you go practice the drums? I mean, that meme is going to. It's not even a meme, really. It's just
It's just
a critique, I guess, is going to follow him for the rest of his life. That Lars is not a good drummer. It's going to. And the thing is he's not a bad drummer.
No,
it's just that he's not particularly good.
He was a bit groundbreaking for his time. He was in 1983 and 84.
If I remember from an interview, he fully admits to backsliding. That at some point he stopped caring and basically his ability backslid. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with his drumming on this album.
Right.
As he's a perfectly adequate drummer. He's the Ringo Starr of Metallica, that's entirely just based off of the joke. I can't remember.
Paul,
Paul said it was just he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles.
And you really a lot of people like real good drummers have pointed out Ringo was not a bad. He was actually a very good drummer.
Exactly.
Especially for the music he was drumming for, he was very innovative and very good.
Yes. But it's funny to bring that because it's a hilarious quote.
It is
fucking funny. Anyway, how have you been?
I've been great. I had a problem with like fruit flies or whatever in my bathroom. And I was trying to do different things to get rid of them. I was trying cleaning everything. They just multiplied.
Yeah.
It's because they were in a drain or something like that.
Yep.
And they were coming. So I couldn't even breathe in there without sucking one to a lung. So last night I went down to Ace Hardware over by my house and I said, I need to kill bugs. The guy's like, follow me. So
follow me, sir.
I went and he got me some household flying insect spray. And then he said, and here's what you do. I used to work in a bar. We had the problem in the bar too. What you do is you just take a towel, you soak it in bleach, and you set it in your sink over the drain.
Interesting.
And so I did that, and now all gone.
No flies.
No flies.
I could not. When I first moved into this place, I could not pinpoint. I had a gnat. I don't know if it was gnats or fruit flies or what, but I had an issue with some very, very tiny flying insects. that I'm pretty sure was related to a plant that I had at the time.
Yeah.
They were coming up out of the dirt or some such. A plant that I got rid of because the fucking cat wouldn't stop trying to eat it. And when it was not good for her. But in any case, I did not know where they were coming from. So what I did that seemed to be pretty successful is I put out a jar of pickle juice and I put some saran wrap over the top of the jar and then poked some holes in it.
Right.
And then they went down into the pickle juice, and that was pretty effective for a while.
I actually did that myself. I put just apple cider vinegar and mixed with Dawn in a cup.
Yeah, that would be something that's sweet but also will kill them.
Yeah.
Seems to be a good combination. I haven't really had a problem with too many insects. Occasionally there'll be something or other that's crawling around, but it hasn't really been an issue in here, which is maybe kind of surprising because I'm a bit of a slob. But
you're not that. No, man, I was way more of a slob when I was your age. I probably should have gotten some sort of a ticket for the condition of my house.
Sir, we don't like looking at your house.
This is a health hazard.
You're not technically breaking any laws. We just don't like it.
This area is not zoned for landfill, sir.
A buddy of mine from high school, when he was in college, he was a couple years older than me, and his cars in high school were always a bit of a mess. But when I met with him and we went to the first year I went to Warped Tour with him, when I had just graduated high school, his car, he had claimed he was attempting to reach a record for the world's largest moving landfill. I think he was getting pretty close. Before we left, we spent quite a long time cleaning, not cleaning the car, just moving enough stuff so other people could sit in it.
Sure.
It was nasty. It was fucking nasty.
Sure.
And then the next summer, he was, it was not nearly as, there wasn't nearly as much stuff in it, but it was still dirty because he was working concrete that summer. And so the whole back seat was filled with like concrete dust and chunks and stuff. And like all kinds of, construction tools and shit. There was another time I stayed at his apartment it was in the fall, and Lorna Shore was performing in Fargo.
She was in Jurassic Park.
Yep. And also is married to the guy who composed for The Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Yep. And
Bear Grylls. No.
You're thinking of Bear McCreary.
Oh, no. Mindy McCready was in, she was a country singer.
No, she was brunette. She was in Moulin Rouge. Was Minnie Driver in Moulin Rouge, or am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of
Minnie Pearl.
No, I'm thinking Minnie Driver was in the music, Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera. Okay,
she was in the Phantom of the Opera with Gerard Butler.
And Grosse Pointe Blank.
Now I'm not.
That's a good movie.
Was Minnie Driver in that one?
She was actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was John and Joan Cusack, where he goes back to his high school reunion. And
what were we talking about?
Metallica.
No,
not yet. No, we weren't.
Lorna Shore was in Fargo, and me and I guess a friend of his at the time, who he has since had a pretty severe falling out with. But we were, and he was also in the throes of a pretty severe case of, what's the
syphilis?
No, it's a respiratory thing where like your lungs kind of, they don't fill with fluid, but like you basically hack up
pneumonia.
It's not as severe as pneumonia.
Is it
basically like eventually you can cough up basically like a mucus cast of your own airways. Oh God, I can't.
Sounds like pneumonia, man.
But he was like operable, basically.
Oh, sure.
Than he was
walking pneumonia,
something like that. I don't know. At one point, he did hack up like what looked like a piece of his larynx, but
Neat.
it was just mucus. But in any case, my buddy and his girlfriend at the time. I think they were at work or whatever. I was just I was just staying for the whole weekend, basically, and. Me and this other guy spent almost the entire day cleaning their apartment because it was so fucking it was so messy. Mm-hmm. They had a laundry room. I don't think they had ever done laundry. They had just thrown their clothes into the room where the washer and dryer were. Wow. And this other guy spent that entire time. And there were a whole bunch of empty totes in there too. So he spent the entire time picking up, folding their clothes, and putting them in these totes just to get them off the floor. I spent the entire time cleaning their kitchen area, where their kitchen island with the sink and everything. There were tons of dishes in it that were gross. It's just like, dude, how are you living like this? Mm-hmm. He's married and a father now, and he has a house. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the inside of that house looks like.
Okay, here's let me tell you what happened to your friend. Mm-hmm. It clicked one day. Otherwise,
God, I hope so.
It clicked because now he has to really consider other people. He has to consider a wife and a child. Because that's what happened to me. I was serious. I was bad. I was a hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't throw away a burger wrapper. I wouldn't throw shit. And I had all my car was like that. My home was like that. And then eventually, after a while, I had a wife that said these words, like over 2,000-3,000 times. Do you really fucking want this? Seriously. No. Man, then she throws it in the trash.
Throw it away.
Yeah, and so it trained me to hear her voice. And do I really... these Chinese leftovers are from March. Let's just put this in the fucking garbage. I'm never going to eat it.
It's the meaner version of, does this spark joy?
Yeah.
Do I really fucking want this?
No, do I?
Have Marie Kondo say that to you.
Yeah,
do you really fucking want this?
I remember one time I accidentally severed the cord of a pair of headphones, but they meant too much to me, so I couldn't throw them away. And so one night I went to bed and they disappeared in the night.
I do still have a broken mouse.
Sure.
That I should just throw away.
You should. Can you get money back for it?
I don't want to.
Oh, that's right. That's you.
Spend the time. I don't want to fucking bother to figure like. This is also the reason why I still have the mouse and didn't send it somewhere is because I didn't have, I didn't get a protection plan on it or something.
Yeah. Well, you know what you should do is find out just how many pieces it's made out of.
I guess.
Do you have a golf club?
No.
Oh.
I do have a hammer, though.
All right. That's effective as well.
I feel like that could work just as well.
Sure.
And also I'd be more likely to actually hit the fucking thing. Because my accuracy with a golf club leaves something to be desired. Mm-hmm. Also, I have not held a golf club and used it to golf since I was probably 15.
Really?
Something like that.
So you weren't fully grown yet the last time you used a golf club.
I was not. It's kind of weird because it's like I went golfing a lot when I was younger because my dad is an avid golfer. My sister is an avid golfer. Mm-hmm. And so it was just the thing. It was like, oh, dad's going golfing and mom is out doing something. So we're going with dad. And we're going to be at the golf course. So we're going to do the thing a lot of times we would just ride along. But as I got older, I was like, oh, I want to golf too. But then
just like Dad.
The thing that absolutely ruined golf for me is I was like, okay, Hannah was on the golf team, so I'll try and do that too.
And you just learned how good a golfer you were.
Yeah. And also how completely miserable it is to go golfing when you don't necessarily want to go golfing.
Sure.
Golf is at its core a leisure activity. It is something you do because you want to.
Right.
Because it's what you have chosen to do today. Unless you're a professional golfer. Other than that, it's explicitly the sort of thing that you go and do because you're bored, you have nothing else to do. It's a nice day. I'm going to go golfing. When you don't have a choice and it's March 31st in North Dakota.
Ooh, it's gross out.
And the golf course opened a couple days ago, and you have to be out there because you joined a school function. It kind of takes some of the shine off of that there, Apple.
Yeah. Yeah, see,
it was fucking miserable.
My first time golfing ever, I was an adult already. I think it was in my late 20s, first time I ever went golfing. It never come up before.
Yeah.
Not a thing. But my old boss, I was talking about, I said, I never get out there. I mean, I like fresh air. I like green grass. I like hitting a thing with a thing.
Yeah.
And he says, I'll sell you my golf clubs. They're in the trunk of my car. And I said, I don't really have enough money to buy golf clubs. He said, $1.
All right,
here you go. And so I was golfing, and I realized why he sold them for me for $1 because he probably stole them from different secondhand stores. Yeah, it does look like they're trash, but I love them because I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So I went golfing with this guy I know named Tori, who I knew in the back of my head was excessively competitive as a person. I knew this, and so we went and I was bad because I'd never actually I had golf many times before, and usually I was hitting a ball through a windmill. Is the only time? Yeah, that's just, as a child. That's the only golfing I experienced.
So when you got to the green,
and amazing. My short game was on par, literally. Well, no, because I hit the ball 9 times before I got there. Anyway,
if you were only on the green,
that'd be great.
Been on par.
So I'd hit the ball and we'd get there, and then it would dog leg or something like that, and then I'd hear Tori snickering behind me like, "Don't fucking do this. Don't, not today. I'm going to be frustrated the entire day." And by the end of it, a hat that I'd bought at the start of the day, I was now just ripping in half with my hands and just screaming and throwing it on the ground. And he was belly laughing. He was on his back just laughing at me.
That is the last person you want to go golfing with.
Yeah.
Because again, leisure activity.
Exactly. It's a leisure activity. And in retrospect, it was funny. It was pretty damn funny.
It's a funny story to tell.
Yeah, and if he ever says, "Hey, do you want to go golfing again?" and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm going with you. I want to replay last time."
I think the other thing also that's great about going golfing for the first time as an adult is alcohol.
We didn't have any.
Really?
We had no alcohol. We were at Apple Grove. There is no alcohol at Apple Grove. But I suppose we went to the country club or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go out there.
And it's just, oh, hey, there's the beer cart. Like, it's, I don't know what it is about it. I think it's a very Caucasian thing of just like, here's this leisure activity and we're going to get fucking drunk while we do it.
Jeff's brother-in-law has a special golf bag with a place where you could put cold packs to keep your beer cool.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Scott's favorite words on the golf course are, let's play through.
The golf and curling.
Curling, yes. My
I don't know if there is a curling club in existence that does not have a bar.
Yeah, no one would show up for that.
What would be the fucking point?
Most of the curling I've seen the stuff you see on TV, the Olympics. It's real athletes. But the stuff you see, like they're throwing the rock in one hand.
Yeah.
The other hand, there's a beer.
There's alcohol.
Yeah.
I like. It is somewhat impressive. Like curlers are a lot more flexible than I am. The fucking poses that they get down into, I don't think I could do. But the rest of it, when I watch it, I'm like, this is the only Olympic sport I could do.
The sweeping is actually very hard to do.
I can imagine. And again, like they fucking skate. They're on. No, it's not.
No, they're on shoes.
They're on shoes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to picture it in my head, and in my head they're sliding.
They're sliding because they're on ice.
Yeah. That would freak me out. Just being on regular shoes but sliding on ice. I wouldn't like that.
No.
I don't like being on ice. Mm-hmm. I basically ever since I messed up my knee when I was 16 at a water park, anything where like there is a risk of harm to my legs, I just really sets me off. Like, I don't know how to ice skate. I've only tried to ice skate once in my life, and I was terrified the entire time. Because it was like, I'm gonna like twist my ankle and my legs are going to rip in half. So I don't want to do this anymore. I've seen what it looks like when my kneecap is on the wrong side of my leg, and I don't want to see that ever again. So yeah, I don't want to. I don't like that. Even skiing like freaks me out a little bit for that reason.
Sure.
I'm a little less terrified of skiing because I've done that more, not too many times, but I've done that more. And also, you're on snow. Like, you wipe out a bit. You know, you can have some pretty major wipeouts, and of course, you can break some bones and you know, slam your head into shit. Yeah, but most of the time, you're just on snow. You'll be all right.
People have died skiing, but
many people have died skiing. But
Yeah. Sonny Bono died skiing. What's his name's wife died skiing. Liam Neeson's wife died skiing.
The parents from Jumanji.
They died skiing. James Bond's parents also died skiing.
Yeah, didn't they?
Yeah.
We had a long conversation about James Bond before we start. Well, we were recording and then I deleted it.
Right. Yeah, because it had nothing to do with any kind of podcast situation. Well, it's because he was sitting here with his cat just draped over his lap, just slowly stroking the cat.
Hello.
Hello,
Mr. Bennett.
I wonder if James Bond, when he was a kid, I wonder if he was Jimmy. I wonder if he was
Jimmy. Come down here, Jimmy.
And Jimmy Bond as a kid had a special hole where he could look into the girls' room. He liked to spy.
Oh God. I mean, you can't say that doesn't line up with his character.
Yeah.
As an adult.
Right.
Like that would make sense. Let's talk about the album.
All the way through Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least.
Ride the Lightning is Metallica's second studio album.
Yes.
And at least according to you, they're best.
It's my personal favorite.
It's your favorite.
A lot of people say their next album is their best album.
Which is Master of Puppets.
Yes.
And this was recorded in Copenhagen. They went all the way to Denmark to record this.
They went all the way to Lars's house.
Oh, yeah, I suppose I constantly forget that Lars is. Wait, is he Danish or is he Dutch?
Danish.
He's Danish.
Lars Ulrich? Yeah, he's
that
Danish.
Could be a Dutch last name.
I suppose there are Lars.
There's just a little strip of Germany that separates the two of them. There's like 40 miles of coastline that Germany has, and then it's Denmark between the Netherlands and Denmark. So they're not that far apart. But anyway, they went to Denmark to record this. The lineup, this was not their original lineup, I guess, because it's minus Dave Mustaine, but
right. And Pete Best. Right.
But we do have it's James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, Cliff Burton, and Lars Ulrich. When did Cliff die? Was that after Master of Puppets?
Yes, he died on the tour for Master of Puppets.
Okay.
There was a bus accident.
Yes. What the hell was it who's the original singer for AC/DC?
You talking about Bon Scott?
Yeah. How did Bon Scott die?
He choked on his own vomit in a car.
Okay. Yeah, I think
he aspirated because he drank too much.
For some reason, I get the deaths of Bon Scott and
Cliff
Burton confused somehow. I don't know why. They're two people in bands that died. That's literally
it.
That's literally the only reason that I get them confused.
Wow.
For whatever reason. My brain is just full of holes. Full of holes. You know how neutrinos usually just pass through you harmlessly? They actually do harm to me.
Really? That would be the dumbest superpower ever.
My mutant superpower is that neutrinos fucking hurt when they pass through me.
And billions of them a second pass through you, don't they?
I'm in constant agony.
He's no longer talking about his superhero powers.
This is a cry for help.
Yeah.
But yeah, their first album was Kill 'Em All. That came out in 1983, just a year before this. What was your awareness of Metallica? When did that start? How did that go?
All right. It was the end. I think it was the end of 1986. I want to say I was 12, and I had some friends who was living in the Philippines. And I had some friends who were, into metal and a lot of things. I think I've told the story before, but
yes.
If you got a tape, it was a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yes.
And I got this album and Kill 'Em All on two sides of a cassette. And,
that's like
and
gold.
Yeah, it was gold. So I love that. I made copies for other people as well.
Nice.
So the funny part is that this album right here is like 46 and a half minutes long.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until into adulthood that I heard the end of Call of Cthulhu.
It just got cut off at some point.
Yeah, it just stopped near the end of Call of Cthulhu. It just lead.
You thought it was
stop.
like the end of you thought it's like the end of Raining Blood,
yeah,
but without the thunderclap.
Right. Yeah, well, I realized what had happened.
Yeah.
I realized it was too long for the
tape ran out. But at least it was in the middle of the last song.
Yeah, well, near the end
of the last song, which is Call of Cthulhu is pretty long, isn't it?
It's an 8.5, 9 minutes, something like that.
It's a fairly long and entirely instrumental as well.
Right.
It's a kick-ass song.
It is.
So what do you have to say?
Because you're a blank boogie board over there.
I didn't do any like research or notes. We're talking about fucking Metallica. Like what do you want to know? They formed early 80s Bay Area.
Right.
What else do you want to know?
Initially Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Initially Los Angeles, and then when Cliff lived up in the Bay Area, so they moved up to be part of that. Well, Cliff and Kurt had both lived in that area.
Yes.
So they moved up there to be with them.
And then started working on, touring,
right,
making music, and then before at some point before Kill 'Em All came out, they said goodbye to Dave Mustaine.
They did. Their first
famously.
EP was No Life to Leather. Was it Metal Up Your Ass?
Here I can look.
Yeah.
Metal Up Your Ass. That's a funny.
It is.
I mean, these were young guys
Very
at this
young.
point too.
Well, yeah, because as we discussed earlier, this is James Hetfield's 59th birthday today as we're recording
it's his
this.
birthday.
So that would mean that he was born in August of 1963, which means that in recording this at the beginning of 1984, he was 20 years old.
Jesus.
If you do the math there. 20, their second album.
He's one of the younger members of the band, isn't he?
He's not, I don't know if he's
not too much younger.
No, I think the youngest member is Rob Trujillo now.
Okay.
The bass player, new bass player, who used to be in Suicidal Tendencies.
Oh, yeah. Their first EP. Well, there's the $5.98 EP.
Right.
And the $9.98 CD.
Yeah.
That's
it was Garage Days was their original, something like that.
Something's off on this Wikipedia.
on their is it their Discog or?
I'm looking at their discography, and under like the extended plays, it's something about that isn't right.
Something about that isn't right?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, because it's listing as came out in 1987, which obviously is not before Kill 'Em All.
Garage Days Revisited was an EP that came out in 1987. That's after they that's with fuck's his name?
Jason
Newsted, yeah.
Jesus.
That's I didn't mean to whack the
Turn your microphone back towards
you. There it is. Hi, I'm back. That's just with Jason Newsted. This was sort of the first thing they did with him. And by the way, the bass sound on that was the best bass playing The best bass sound anytime with Jason
that
Newsted.
they had produced. I mean, it's better. It's better than
the following album.
Yeah, where he's inaudible.
Gone. Yeah,
where his tracks just aren't there for some fucking. Or his tracks are there. They're just completely inaudible. On And Justice for All. Go on YouTube and listen to And Justice for Bass.
And because there's people that actually took care of that.
Yeah, they added the bass back into it.
Yeah,
I can't remember what the excuse was. Why what Lars and James said for why they completely drowned the bass out. I can't remember what it was.
I don't know that they actually gave a reason for that.
At the time, I don't think so.
Right,
because I think it was something that Jason Newsted was not aware was happening. But in retrospect, like after being asked about it in interviews, they've given some reasons that always seemed a little bizarre to me. But we're talking about this album. We're talking about Ride the Lightning.
Sure.
So a lot, as I understand, because I'm not a Metallica fan.
Sure.
Which is not,
I've seen them three times.
Yeah, I greatly enjoy this album, by the way. When I say I'm not a Metallica fan, I don't mean that derisively, as in like, I'm not a Metallica fan because I hate them. I'm saying that because like,
it's just never a thing you caught on to.
It's just never a thing that I've caught on to.
Right.
But like, I understand conventional wisdom is that Master of Puppets is their best album. That's the conventional wisdom, is that most people say Master of Puppets is their best.
Then the second most number of people agree with me on this one.
Yes. And then most people say that their first three albums are their best three albums. And you wouldn't disagree with that?
I wouldn't disagree. I got the next. Well, I got Garage Days on cassette. Well, no, I got the year. The year I got into Metallica is the year that Master of Puppets came out. But
Okay.
I didn't get that yet. I think I bought that on cassette, and then I also got Garage Days on cassette.
Okay.
And then my first CD that I owned was Injustice for All.
All right.
And I'm not gonna say what happened.
Okay.
But let's just say I got it for Christmas.
Ah.
I got it for Christmas. And I was really okay. I'll tell the story.
Yeah, I'm curious now.
I because I'm an asshole. I saw it was back when they had the jewel boxes.
Okay,
the long flat like half a pizza box for a tiny disc,
massive.
Yeah, and so I'm like, well, I know exactly what the fuck this is, and it's gonna sit here for 2 months.
You've told this story before.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Continue to tell it.
I very, very like surgically unwrapped the thing, surgically took the CD out of the case, and then put the case back in, put it all back together, put it back into the tree, and secretly just listen to it. Just constantly.
I mean, hey, it's your. I will say, I think that's on your parents for putting it out so early.
Yeah.
And making it so obvious what it was.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing is that when Mom handed it to me Christmas morning, she's here you go. I went, Metallica. And I started ripping it open. She went, wait a minute, what did you say?
How did you?
That's just what I say.
Anytime someone hands me anything. Metallica. Sir, would you like to hold your son? Metallica.
Yeah, I couldn't have got away with naming him that.
This is my son, Metallica Bennett.
Yeah. I mean, I already had one child named after a heavy metal album.
So, but at least that's a person's name.
True.
At the very least, you didn't name. That's your oldest daughter, right?
Yeah, Abigail.
I was gonna say, at least you didn't name them like, I don't know, the Anthropocene extinction. No other album I was like, think of a different album. And Cattle Decapitation was the only thing that came to my mind.
Right. The Anthropocene extinction. Well, she was born in 1995, so
what would have been
out at the time?
Some Pantera album.
So probably This is my daughter, Cowboys from Hell.
Yeah. That's funny to me.
Yeah. So yeah, I listened to this a lot. And you know, one thing I also didn't realize until I was an adult, and this is after I'd already been a musician for a while.
Okay.
The opening lead part.
Yes.
To For Whom the Bell Tolls. That's Cliff playing that. It actually took me a long time for some reason for that to click in my mind.
That's bass.
That's the bass guitar.
I'm trying to remember it now. I'm gonna have to listen to it for a second.
That's not him.
Yeah, the bell isn't.
No.
But
there you go.
Oh, the do. Wow, that's a bit. Wow.
Yeah.
I would not have thought. I would have thought that was a keyboard or something, like a sample of some kind.
It's the bass using I don't know what kind of
Some sort
pedal,
of pedal,
but also a wah.
Yes, which would become a very important part of Metallica eventually is the wah pedal.
Yeah, more for Kirk though.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a Kirk Hammett is kind of infamous for the wah pedal.
And you know he's the oldest member of the band.
Really?
Yeah. You know he also started another band.
Really?
Yeah. Did you know that?
I think I might have known that.
Yeah.
What band was it again,
They're
though?
called Exodus.
Ah, yes. Classic Exodus, the forbidden one.
Yeah.
You got to get all 5 pieces of him.
Right.
And then you win the Yu-Gi-Oh game. That's as much as I know about Yu-Gi-Oh.
Really?
Yu-Gi-Oh confuses the fuck out of me.
I know nothing.
I know even less about Yu-Gi-Oh than I know about Pokemon.
Wow.
And I know jack shit about Pokemon.
You know what I love? I love when Bulbasaur goes Super Saiyan.
What just popped into my head was Ash from Pokemon, but an Evangelion.
Sure. I thought you were going to say evangelist. But I
Yes, the band.
Yeah.
But no, just Ash from Pokemon in Evangelion. Just
Sure.
like, it's like, what's wrong with all these other teenagers? Why are they so messed up? And why do we have to pilot the robots? Because everybody knows that when the world is threatened by some horrifying existential threat, the only thing that can protect us is giant robots piloted by teenagers with some major psychosexual trauma.
Right.
That's the lesson that I've learned from Japanese media.
From Japanese media and Guillermo del Toro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although that wasn't teenagers.
That wasn't
in
teenagers, I guess, no.
And the trauma there wasn't so much psychosexual. In Pacific Rim. A dear friend of mine watched Pacific Rim for the first time recently.
Yeah.
And she was like, this movie's terrible. And I was like, who are you?
I think you missed the point.
And the point of Pacific Rim is there's giant robots fighting giant monsters. That's the point.
Right.
And you know what? It fucking succeeds. It does exactly what it says on the tin, which is that there's going to be giant robots fighting giant monsters, and it fucking delivers.
Yeah. You know, and I just have to imagine Guillermo sitting there in his office, and his staff comes in and says, I think we finalized the script for don't bother me.
I don't care.
I don't care.
Script?
Script?
We weren't going to do a script. We were just going to have the fight scenes.
I guess if you want to put story, it's fine.
Pacific Rim is awesome. I haven't bothered with the second one because I didn't think the second one should have existed. But
I want to see Atlantic Rim.
the
knockoff from.
I almost said Trauma. It's not Trauma.
No, it's
I can't remember the name of that. The movie. They're the same people that make Sharknado.
Yes.
Back when when all they did was rip-offs of other movies to fool people on Redbox. That's all they did back then. And then they made Sharknado, and they were like, oh, we could do this now.
We can make 9 more of these.
And make technically original films. But anyway, we were talking about Metallica.
Speaking of Sharknado, Metallica.
So let's see what I can drudge up here about the recording of this album.
I know they were pretty drunk through a lot of it.
I mean, hey, you're in your early 20s. You're in a metal band.
Mm-hmm. You're in Denmark.
What else are you going to do?
Right.
An interesting thing, apparently at one point, a whole bunch of their gear was stolen while they were on tour in Boston, and Anthrax lent them a bunch of equipment.
Yes.
That's a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, Scott Ian tells a story about that tour, being in London at one point, and he and Cliff were walking down the street, and the police were getting close to them. He was like, oh, no, I know he has a lot of weed in his pocket. And he did. And they both got arrested.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's funny. Also, I guess I wasn't aware that previous to this album, apparently James Hetfield hadn't done double duty for vocals and rhythm guitar.
Prior to this album?
At least it says frontman James Hetfield felt uneasy about performing double duty on vocals and rhythm guitar. So the band offered the job to Armored Saint singer John Bush, who turned down the offer because Armored Saint was doing well at the time.
Right, but he did do it on Kill 'Em All. I mean, he was playing rhythm guitar. I think it was something he was uneasy about doing from the start.
Oh,
and so he was like
on tour.
Can we just get like somebody else to do vocals? I'll play rhythm guitar. And then I think it didn't work out. And
he just figured it out.
Yeah,
and that's how it's been ever since.
Indeed.
Yeah. That was a really bad.
Yeah, that was.
I didn't really put much.
That sounded more like joint pain than.
Which is how I mean. Yeah. James is 59. Well, that's where he's at now.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, they say a lot of people are saying he's slowing down a little. But, I guess it's what you do. I've slowed down a little.
The man's 59 years old. Mm-hmm. He looks like everybody's dad at this point. Right. James Hetfield does,
which is good because he could potentially look like everybody's grandfather. So,
which, yeah. That's, although, I mean, my dad is older than him, so
sure,
it's like, anyway.
But if you say your dad had been, say, 21 when you were born, yes, he'd be younger than me now.
This is interesting content.
Woohoo! Partay, yeah.
Yeah. So it was at Sweet Silence Studios in Copenhagen. Because Lars had heard something else that these people had produced and liked that, and also just apparently wanted to record in Europe, which, hey,
in Copenhagen. Copenhagen is pretty awesome.
I've never left I've never left North America. Sure. So I'm not aware.
I can't believe you've never even been to Canada. I mean, it's right there.
I've been to Canada.
Oh, you've never left North America.
North America.
Not America, North America.
Yeah, I've been to Canada.
Right, and you spent that time in Mexico.
Yeah, I spent, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah, no, we
don't talk about that. The things I saw are not to be repeated.
Man, that donkey. So,
does it slap?
Yeah,
slap?
It slaps.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
What are you, stupid? What are you, stupid or something? Gosh. What's your favorite song on this album?
My favorite song in this album, it's funny. I think the song that comes to mind the most that's on this is the one the band hates and won't play live,
which is
Escape.
Escape doesn't immediately jump to mind. What is it about Escape that you like so much?
Just something about it just being different than the rest of this. I love all the songs on here, but it's just one that it's different than all the rest of them.
Do you know why the band doesn't like to play it?
I don't know. They just said they don't like the song and they don't like to play it. I mean, that and Fight Fire with Fire, the opening track, are awesome. Of course, Call of Cthulhu.
Yes. I'll give you one guess as to what my favorite song on this album is.
Is it Call of Cthulhu?
Okay, I'll give you two guesses.
Okay. What's your favorite? What would
Think About Me?
Fade to Black.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Come on.
Yeah, that is a fucking great song.
It's an amazing song.
It is an amazing song.
It's fantastic.
I guess that one really stands out too. That one's different than all the rest. But
and it's I haven't listened to a lot of other entire Metallica records, but I mean the song I'm most familiar with, just from existing and also having played Guitar Hero 3 is one.
Sure.
Which is very much is very similar in a lot of ways to Fade to Black. Starting with kind of I guess one starts with clean guitar instead of acoustic, but clean electric guitar instead of the acoustic guitar.
And here's the funny thing: they both start with the same fingering. The same.
Yeah.
You could play one into the. You could play Fade to Black into one.
Yeah, and it would be pretty seamless.
Or Fade to One is sometimes you can call it.
And I like it. I enjoy that. I like that idea because when I started, I was like, this isn't one. One's not on this record.
No, right.
I looked at it, but I think that's interesting because it kind of forms part of a suite. It's like you can hear that and be like, I don't know if any more songs that they have ever recorded are also similar in that way, but it would be cool if there was like one. If they started every single song like, oh, this is the depressing one.
Yeah. Okay.
You hear these notes and you're like, this is the depressing one. All right.
We're going to start this with a diminished B. Okay, here you go.
Strap in.
Diminished B. We're going. All right.
This is the sad one. But yeah, Fade to Black, I think, is a fantastic song. I also think, I believe I was quite fond of Creeping Death as well.
Yeah. That's a great.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. But it's what? Why can't I see it? Fade to Black. Jesus.
Yeah. Yes.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh, you should have heard the podcast last
Dun
night.
dun 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 dun. Sorry, my brain had to restart.
Yeah,
My brain runs on Windows XP.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say 95, but I mean,
I think the startup. I can't remember what the startup sound and the shutdown noise is because they're different it's different for everyone.
not all of them were different. I think XP and 95 had something similar.
I think 95 and 98 might have been the same. I think XP was similar, but I watched a video that had all of them on it at one point for no reason other than, here's a way to spend 9 minutes of my life. So what metal do you bestow upon this album like Maz Kanata to Chewbacca?
Gold.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. It's a gold. I've now that I have listened to this, I'm like, all right, I at least got to listen to Master of Puppets now. I at least have to do that.
Yep.
And like I knew going in that
It's legendary for a reason.
And before I started this, it was like, there's no chance that I'm not going to enjoy this.
Right.
It's like I've listened to enough other thrash metal albums at this point to know that, I like thrash metal. I wouldn't call myself a thrash metal fan, but I like thrash metal. And
I do too, because I'm 48.
Yeah.
I'm a 48-year-old white dude.
And before starting this, I was like, this is the thrash metal album.
Yeah.
You're gonna like this. It's gonna be fine. You know what this is. There's not gonna be anything on this that is going to, make you this isn't fucking Celtic Frost. You'll be fine.
Though I think you would like their first album, Into Megatherion. I think if I brought that, you would go, I don't hate this.
Okay.
The one I brought, you went, I kind of hate this.
Yeah, I did kind of hate that.
Yeah. They weren't experimental with that first album at all.
Okay.
They were just metal.
Well, maybe some point.
Yeah.
Maybe some point you'll bring that one to me. Once again, I don't know what I want to talk about. Maybe from now on, my picks will always be a mystery.
It's a big question mark.
It's a big old question mark from Kale, because I just don't know. I have been listening to like the same things on repeat for months at this point, so I have not found a lot of new things that really appeal to me. There's some stuff coming up on the horizon that I'm really excited for, and we will definitely talk about, but they're not coming out for a while.
So we can't talk about them yet.
It's next month is already September when we can do a non-metal month.
Wow.
Which is also perfect because there's a Wonder Years album coming out next month. So
my favorite porno grind band, The Wonder Years.
Yeah. Yeah, famous underground grindcore project, The Wonder Years. But yeah, there's a new Wonder Years album coming out next month. Then it's like October. There's a new Lorna Shore record coming out that I'm excited for because I've liked all the stuff with their new vocalist.
Great cookie. Yeah, the new vocalist.
You keep on making this joke. You keep on making the same joke about this band, and it's never going to be funny to me.
which is only making it hilarious.
It's funny to you.
Because it's nothing short of upsetting for you now.
Yeah, their new vocalist is
he's
amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, he is.
He's absolutely fantastic.
What is he, like 19, 20 years old?
I don't know. He's a young guy.
Yeah.
But in any case, I'll figure out what I want to listen to next week. Until then, and whenever that episode comes out, why don't you go ahead and give us a follow on Facebook and Twitter if you like, and you can get updates when episodes come out there, if that's how you'd prefer, if that's what you're going to be active on most of the time. Otherwise, just subscribe to our feed on your Apple Podcast app or download Libsyn's The Podcast Source and subscribe to our feed there. So until you hear from us again, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.